anyways, one thing that I realized about our average quality, and one thing that I wanted to touch on just a little bit before we got into the Dean interview, was, Andrew and I had our average qualities, but a lot of the times, I guess I wouldn't say they are entirely meant for satirical purposes. I think we do a good job of showing that it's not just something that's funny. Mm-hmm. It happens to be funny because, it's funny to not be good at parallel parking. It's funny to not be average at something. But at the same time, it's definitely, we're average at it because, it's something that we failed at. And it's something that we just didn't do well at. And I think the people understanding that we're trying to fix those problems, we're trying to learn from those failures and show that's how successful people work, and that's kind of where our drive comes through. And I just wanted to clarify and reflect on the average quality for any of our new marketing interns or actually our existing marketing interns, because that's something that gets kind of lost in translation sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And I think what we did touch on the Dean Kilby interview is Dean Kilby kind of inspired us to have a more clear way of going about it, and with presenting it to the media companies and with presenting it to guests, we needed to have a more clear, concise, very direct method and purpose to the average quality. And what we shared with him and what he kind of helped us realize is the average quality is all about embracing it, because you can't resist the average quality to be the best version of yourself. If you want to be, you have to embrace your average quality. And when you do, that illuminates a little more self-awareness in your day-to-day routine. And through all of that, it really results in a humility aspect where you are humble enough to say, hey, I'm average at this. I need help. I need to outsource, or I just need to focus on how can I get better.
Yeah, and I think identifying your average quality or identifying that you failed is only the start. And I think that's the biggest difference between those people who aren't successful and those people that are successful. The most successful people are just as ordinary as us, but they have an extraordinary commitment to solving those problems, to learning from those failures, to figuring out how to best myself based on what has happened to me or what situation I am just currently in, what you're born into sometimes. And I think that's something that just really needs to be talked about in this world right now. And I think we're really trying to put that to the forefront. I just wanted to make that known right away so that people know an average quality is not just something that is funny and makes us a comedy podcast. But at the end of the day, it's something that can help track our progress and show that our drive and our passion to be successful.
Absolutely. And trapping the puck on that and transitioning perfectly to Dean Kilby. He is a person who really took his passions to the extreme. He learned from his mistakes, learned from his failures, understood what his story and what he brought to the table, and kind of helped us grow. He showed his growth through all of it. It was a definitely longer interview than normal, but we had to let him talk because when he spoke, we were locked in, and I know you marketing interns will be locked in as well.
Yeah, and one more thing, he's Australian, which is just cool. We've never had an Australian on. But it's also, like you had mentioned, I think at the very beginning, it was just one of those where you had your notebook of like things you wanted to say, and then we asked like the very first questions like, kind of an intro thing before we even asked our average quality, like just giving us an intro. He talked for maybe like 5 to 7 minutes, and at that point I was like, you know what, he's gonna hit his average quality at some point in this. Have faith, go forward, live in the moment, just lock in and listen. We literally tossed our iPads and whatever we had on the ground. You closed out of the notes, and we were just like, dude, let's just listen to this guy. And that's kind of what we're asking you right now. It's a little long, but listen. And if it's listen over a couple days, if it's listen over a couple hours at a time, listen. And that is the biggest thing that I want you guys to take away from this. If you do that, you will absolutely enjoy it. Let's get to it.